Hey guys, it's Samu. Welcome to a new research I did on the gold inflation rate of Guild Wars 2. What I basically did is I defined a bucket of some important items or common items, and I've calculated the price index and an inflation rate for them. As you can see, I have also multiple tabs there. The first tab shows all the items from the bucket, and the other tabs are specifically to only display the graphs for T6 mats, precursors, lodestones, or the crafting materials. And I've also included the releases of Guild Wars 2, so you can see how certain patches have affected the price development of the items. Here on the right you can see the items I've included in the bucket along with their quantity. My basic idea was to use the materials of a legendary, so you can see here the precursors with the 20th along with lodestones and some T6 mats, but I have also included other items like the T5 mats, a lot of ectoplasms, and I think that this variety of items represent a good amount of important items for the daily Guild Wars 2 life. I also understand the argument that calculating an inflation rate or a price index for an online game like Guild Wars 2 is stupid for various reasons, and I think those people have a point. For example, everybody plays the game differently. There's not like in real life the essential rent or payment for a house or to pay for food. So it's difficult to say what items are necessary for the regular player, and also patches totally change the income of the players. But I think there are still very interesting observations to be made, and I will go over a few things I've noticed, and I would be very happy if people could comment or send me stuff they have seen also, because I haven't participated in every patch or I totally forgot about certain farm trends that happened in the past, so it would make me really happy to see some discussions about this. So we are looking here at the price index, which displays the amount of gold you would need to buy the complete bucket, displayed here in copper. So after the release you would have needed around 6 million copper to buy the full bucket, and nowadays you would need to pay 17 million copper to buy the full bucket. So I think it's very interesting to see the amount of money you would need to buy all those items change over time. It's especially interesting that after the release the prices were constantly climbing up, but around the release of the Flame and Frost and the Super Adventure Box, prices were declining fast. Maybe this has something to do with the introduction of the Living World and the many updates, that people stopped just farming gold and gold and gold and just playing and enjoying the game more, maybe. The second interesting thing that happened is around Queen's Jubilee, which I remember for this crazy farm feast. And my assumption why the price is so crazy skyrocketing here is because the Queen's Jubilee was a farm feast and people suddenly got so much gold. But I also think I remember that lodestones were dropping there really good. So when you look at the lodestones, they basically crashed around Queen's Jubilee heavily. Also, when you have a look at the price development of precursors, you can see that after the release the price skyrocketed heavily, and I can totally understand why people have the opinion that precursor prices are rising and rising constantly because of that. But you can also see that for almost the same amount of time the prices were slowly declining again. But then again the Queen's Jubilee made them explode, but then they have been constant for a very long time again. So I think it's more of a myth that precursor prices are constantly climbing up and you can't keep up with them. So this time we are looking at the inflation rate, which displays the percentage change from bucket to bucket over the period of time. And everything above the zero line here is basically inflation, and everything below is deflation. And it's very interesting to see that here again in the beginning we have a lot of inflation happening, then the prices of the items were declining over time, and then we have this crazy spike during the Queen's Jubilee that skyrocketed the prices. Very interesting here is to look at the T6 mats, because they kind of have a spike around the Super Adventure Box. And it's only speculation, I have no proof of it, but I assume that so many people were playing the Super Adventure box that the supply of the T6 materials declined, which made them skyrocket during the time because they're kind of limited. Also, one very important thing to keep in mind is that gold is not the only currency in game. We have karma, skill point, and dungeon tokens. And you can equip your character with karma alone, with dungeon tokens alone, and gold is only one part of it. So that's it for now. Please have a look at the data yourself and have a discussion with me. It would make me really happy. And I hope I was able to share some of the enthusiasm I have about this topic, because I think that even though the economy has a stigma of trading post players with this unfair amount of gold and destroying the experience for everybody or whatsoever, I think there is still a lot of excitement you can get from just looking at the data, seeing how certain things affect other things or creative ideas people have. It makes me very happy and excited about it, and I hope you can appreciate it as I do, at least a little bit.